Hello and welcome to Just Like Us's School Diversity Week. We are an LGBT plus educational charity who believe the best way to understand our community is by hearing our stories. We're also here to empower the next generation of LGBT plus leaders and activists. This week is School Diversity Week, which is all about championing LGBT plus representation in education. And we believe that right now it's more important than ever to learn about the different communities around us. Last year, we managed to reach over 1 million students in the UK, and hopefully this year, virtually, we can reach even more. Before we begin, we have a quick video about keeping safe during this week.
Hello. We hope you're enjoying loads of interesting activities for School Diversity Week. Millions of young people are a part of this, and you must keep safe online. So as part of this, we are moderating and disabling public comments you might make on our social media so we can protect your identities. If you do want to communicate something to us, please just direct message us on our social media platforms, or you can email info@justlikeus.org so we make sure that we're still protecting your identity. Justlikeus.org/betteronline has more information about this, and also has some information about where you can go for help or where someone else can go if they need help.
Okay, before we begin, we'll introduce our speaker of this masterclass. Ben Hunte is a journalist who is the BBC's first LGBT plus correspondent, reporting on LGBT affairs for all BBC platforms. He's also been a news anchor for BBC Africa and was the cover star of Attitude magazine's 25th anniversary edition. Ben has reported on a range of LGBT plus issues, from body positivity to racism within the community, and in his reporting has shared his own experiences, including what it's like to be a black gay man in the UK today. He's received plenty of acclaim for his work, including a Royal Television Society nomination for Young Talent of the Year. So we'll hear Ben speak about his own experiences, and we'll have a Q&A with him.
My name is Ben Hunte. I am the BBC's LGBT correspondent. Until last year, I presented a show called BBC What's New. For those of you who have absolutely no idea what that is, don't worry, I'll explain. Basically, BBC What's New was like, imagine Newsround, imagine Blue Peter. Now, smash them together and throw that to Africa, and that's basically what it was. So it was a program for young people on the African continent. It was music, it was news, it was sports, it was films, it was celebrities, it was everything. The BBC's very first show for young people in Africa. And then last April, I moved to BBC News UK. So that's BBC News at 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, BBC Breakfast, BBC News Online, BBC News on social media, and I became the BBC's very first LGBT correspondent. That means I look into stories and make investigations all about lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people, which makes me one of the youngest, one of the only black, and one of the gayest correspondents that the BBC has ever had. It is a vibe, and I absolutely love doing this job. At this point, it's probably good to press play on what I've been up to over the past few years.
Good morning, I'm Ben Hunte, and this is BBC London News.
Ben Hunte.
Ben Hunte.
Ben Hunte. Ben Hunte.
Ben Hunte. Ben Hunte.
Ben Hunte.
Ben Hunte has our special report.
Hello and welcome to What's New from BBC Africa. I'm Debula.
And I'm Ben, coming up on today's programme. From the township to the trapeze, we meet an amazing young performer from a circus with a difference.
Every defender's worst fear, pace. Sometimes you just can't defend against it. At the highest levels, speed and acceleration can win you chances, clear your lines, and draw important fouls. Just one toe in front of a defender and it's a penalty.
They wanted to see me be less happy, so that's what I'm going to give you today. I'm going to give you a bit of serious. I promise I won't smile or laugh or wave my arms or scream the whole way around this roller coaster.
Can he ride it out with a straight face?
It's all right. It's all right. No drama. Oh, I just smiled.
I'm off to Portugal to meet one of the country's biggest YouTubers. And we've even got one of the UK's leading body language experts on standby, ready to give us the real story behind those lovey-dovey moments.
Fun on screen, poisonous in reality, because look, you've started to compete with one another, and
Judy!
And that's why you laughed and fell on the bed so we couldn't see the lie.
Of course, you can see more from BBC What's New on our YouTube channel and our partner TV stations. See you soon.
Okay, so basically that's me. And with silence, that was hella entertaining. So great. Anyway, every single week I go to different schools around the UK and I speak to young people just like yourselves and tell them how to be more confident. It is worth pointing out that I am 28 years old, so I'm not much older than most of you, but I think it's really important to remember that we are all capable of incredible things and we need to put ourselves forward and actually do those things. Confidence is so, so, so important. I'm not sure what you all want to do with your lives, but I'm going to ask you in just a moment. But back in the day, I had absolutely no idea. I knew that I was going to be the quiet person in school. I didn't want to speak out about myself, about my experiences, and I kind of sat back and allowed things to just happen. Now, when I'm looking back on that, I'm like, why did I not make the most of those experiences? And actually, it really is time now to switch it up and start taking ownership for what you want to do. I always say to people, I am a very good contact to have. And in the same way, there are lots of different people within the BBC who can really help with your careers and give you good advice about how to be yourselves and do what you want to do. But we are now starting that thing where we can actually start speaking about this stuff. And I really want you all to start thinking about what you want to do. So with that being said, let me throw it open. What kind of things do people want to do on this fabulous chat? Let's have a look. Who's going to be first? What do you want to do with your lives? Come on.
Okay, I think, okay, yeah, you go first.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I like this.
Hi. I'm starting my master's in October in gender and sexuality studies, so I think I want to go down the PhD route and become a lecturer, potentially.
Slick. Okay, so I always say to people, work experience is key. Have you done some kind of like work experience within shadowing lecturers, seeing if you like that kind of thing?
Not as of yet, because I wanted to go into museum studies initially, but I've been working in a museum for the last year. Not really my vibe anymore, so I'm thinking I'm going down the other route.
You've just said so many different courses I didn't even know existed, and I'm like, wow, mind blown. They both sound incredible. Right, so for you, work experience is so necessary because in exactly the same way as you weren't sure like museum studies was going to be the right thing, you need to make sure that that is going to be the thing for you to do. As an example, I studied medicine technically, and so I was on the route to becoming a doctor. I was going to make it happen. It got to like my second year of university and I got onto a ward and I did my first bit of work experience. And honestly, it was as I was dealing with patients and realizing that blood wasn't my thing and poo wasn't my thing. And I just very quickly realized, you know what? I don't want to do this with my life. This is not the thing for me to do. But by that point, it was so difficult for me to turn back. So then I had to start thinking about what do I actually want to do? Work experience. Get that experience. Start shadowing people. Figure out what you want to do. Love that. Who else?
Thank you so
what do you
much.
want to do? Go on, Rory. You jumped on in. What do you want to do?
Okay, well, it's hard to put I think I know the ambition, but I can't think of a job description or title to match it. I think ultimately it's about being a change maker and challenging the status quo in society. So I don't want to have a job that I see something bad happening in the news and I just go about, I'm like, oh, that's sad and go on with my life. I think I want to be at the forefront knowing that I am tackling a lot of social issues and injustice and stuff. So I have a degree in politics and religious studies. This year was going to be my gap year in which I was hoping to get an idea of what I want to do and how I can do it through volunteering, but obviously haven't really had the opportunity for that. So early to say, maybe something, I would say politics, but I don't think I have a thick enough skin yet.
Okay, so what have you done to trial out different things to see what you like and what you don't like? Because you're going to need to choose a job. Like, regardless of what you want to do, you're going to need to choose a job. So what have you done to choose that job?
So in January, I went to Malaysia to teach for 6 weeks at a refugee school. And I think it made me realize that I don't want to be a teacher because it's exhausting. So that was one example of trial and error. And next year, I'm working on a social change program in the Middle East, which will give me experience of different NGOs and of social justice. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm 23. You know, life's still young.
No, that's not the attitude we like. Because if you think about it, there are some young people like 10 years old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old who are absolutely killing it and have it nailed down in terms of what they want to do. We need to start thinking about what we want to do. And I hope that this session can kind of inspire you to start reaching out to people and making those connections, to actually start not choosing what you don't want to do, but actually choosing what you do want to do. What do you want to do with the rest of your life? So for you, work experience again, build up that network. Contact as many people as possible. You don't necessarily have to do the work yourself. You can just speak to people about their experiences, about what they're doing. I get a lot of people asking me what it's like to be a journalist. I give them the goods, I give them the bads, I give them all that I possibly can. But ultimately, you need to reach out to people to build up that network. Build it up, see what happens. Okay, I'm going to move on. So every week I go to schools around the UK and I talk about confidence. It is so important to be more confident in what you want to do and to outline what you do want to do, and I guess what you don't want to do as well. But when I did go to university in Malaysia, it really allowed me to explore lots of different experiences. So I had a magazine, I had an events agency. After leaving Malaysia, I worked for Google as a strategy manager. Then I dropped everything to be a YouTuber. I had an LGBT YouTube channel. I hit around like 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. And the BBC said, Ben, would you like to present a documentary all about being a YouTuber? And I said, BBC, how much are you paying? And they said, quite a bit of money. So I said, yes, please. And I jumped into this life of being a presenter, which I didn't even know was a thing. Like before, I saw like Ant and Dec on TV and stuff. But in terms of being a freelance presenter where you can just go around, like present stuff and get paid for it, it was incredible. So I did that for a while, absolutely loved it. But then I was just like, there must be more than this. Like there must be being able to stick up for people and look into stories and investigate and hold the government to account. And that's what I was like, right, I want to try and be a journalist. But I hadn't done pretty much anything to do with journalism. I didn't have a degree in journalism. I didn't have work experience from a newspaper. So I had to start from the bottom. I was literally making tea for a program called Victoria Derbyshire at the BBC, unpaid, for about 3 months. And during those months, I was seeing other people come into the BBC who had done all of that work experience and had, I don't know, written for their local newspaper and written blogs and stuff like that. And suddenly they were really progressing. I'm very, very lucky that when I jumped into the BBC, I had a lot of ideas about things I wanted to do. And that really enabled me to then very quickly get on air with some of those original ideas. And ultimately, 3 years later, obviously, I'm a correspondent. I think I'm the youngest correspondent the BBC's had. So my advice to you is to start building up that network, start making connections. I do have a few confidence tips. So these are going to help you with job interviews, presentations, vlogging, TV presenting if you want to jump into this industry and challenge me. Whatever you want to do, these tips can help you in some way. So 5 confidence tips. Number 1, eye contact. If you don't give someone eye contact, you look nervous and like you have no confidence. You may feel like you have no confidence, but honestly, the most confident people in this world are probably faking it. So you might as well join them. Push those nerves to the side and actually develop that confidence. Look someone in the eye. The way I actually learned how to give eye contact, because I was always a really nervous young person, was to stare at things and talk, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it really helped me. I would grab something in my room, put it somewhere, and just stare at it and talk at it in exactly the same way as I'm looking at this camera now. So when you're looking in someone's eyes initially, it can be quite nerve-wracking. I know that before I came out, especially, I really struggled with giving people eye contact because I felt like they were going to look into my soul and realize I was gay, and that was going to like expose me. That's not going to happen. So you need to start developing eye contact skills, start understanding what it means to literally look someone dead in the eye and give them your full confidence. Next one, strong and clear voice. My goodness, when I was in school, I used to be really aware of my voice. I thought, in fact, I actually had quite a high voice. You wouldn't think about it now, but I had quite a high voice in school and I was quite feminine. And I very quickly realized that that was in some ways holding me back. And I was scared about that. If I could look back now, my goodness, I would have just told myself to get it together. Because when I was younger, because I felt so aware of my voice and aware of like my personality, I didn't jump into things. I didn't volunteer myself in class. I didn't put myself forward for things. Even at university, when I went to university in Malaysia, I really struggled with seeming too gay. which sounds really crazy, but I really, really struggled with it. Strong and clear voice is so important. You really need to practice delivering your voice and having authority in your voice. You are the best version of you possible, so you might as well put yourself forward for things. The only way to ultimately develop yourself and learn about yourself is to put yourself forward for things. So you need to start doing that. The next tip is looking interested. So we've got eye contact, strong, clear voice, looking interested. When I was in school and in my starting years of university, I always got told that I had, I won't use the word, but a resting face. A resting face. I'm sure you know what it was. But I would be in class and I would just look angry, like, the whole time. And it's such a weird thing to say, but if you look interested in what you're talking about or what someone else is talking about, then you look more confident. So when I first started out in TV reporting, I remember interviewing someone and then I watched it back and I looked so angry. Like, I can't remember what they were telling me about, but I just looked like someone had like just done something awful to me. I looked very, very vexed. You need to look interested in what people are talking about. It's something that I carry through with me in presentations like this. You'll see that I smile a lot, even when it doesn't make sense for me to smile, because it makes people feel at ease. And I felt that it really helped me. So look interested. Next one, just keep going. If the spotlight is ever on you and you mess up, you need to keep going. This is your time and it is never as bad as you think. That could be presentations, that could be job interviews. When one of my first jobs was working in Greggs. I worked in McDonald's, I worked in Waitrose, I worked in all these different places. And each of the job interviews I had, like each one I had, I got better and better and better. But I remember in one of my first job interviews for like Greggs, I crumbled. I can't even remember why, but it really got to me. I was just like, wow, like this person is really putting me on the spot. If you're in a spotlight, you need to keep going. Like, this is your opportunity, your time to shine. Push the nerves out of the way and make it happen. The last one, challenge your thinking. Nobody said it was going to be easy. My goodness, if I'm standing here as a black gay man, as a correspondent for the BBC at 28 years old, with a neuroscience degree and a YouTube channel with 50,000 subscribers and whatever else, things are achievable. Things can happen. But it's not going to be easy. I've genuinely gone through some ridiculously dark times, as I'm sure all of you have as well. But you need to challenge your thinking. You need to start thinking more positively about your experiences and what you can do. My mum always used to say to me that no one sees the world like you because no one sees their nose. No, wait, no one sees the world like you because no one has your nose in their view. That's it. So if you think about it, if you close your eyes, the world is basically gone, right? It sounds ridiculous, but if you close your eyes, the world is basically gone. You're the only person who has this view of the world with your nose in it. So you might as well make your view and your experiences as good as possible. Take the negative out and start changing around your experiences. Challenge your thinking. So they were my 5 confidence tips: eye contact, strong, clear voice, look interested, just keep going, and challenge your thinking. I'm going to move to a exercise. So one thing you can practice at home, you can practice on your own, you can practice with somebody, is delivering a live report. People always get really nervous about being live. The concept of being live really makes people quite scared. But if you think about it, when you're delivering a presentation or whatever else, we always wonder, like, should I script it? Should I script it all out? Should I have all of my words down? You don't need it. Because in a general conversation, you don't have that script. So a good way of realizing how good you are at improvising is to practice it with yourself. Make yourself, like, trick yourself into thinking you are actually better at improvising than you think. So for me, sometimes if I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to remember all of this script before doing a live report, I will just look at something and talk to it. And it might be whether I'm talking about, I don't know, my favorite foods. The aim is to build your confidence and show that you can speak about things without preparing for them. So choose a random topic and try to trick yourself into talking about it for an extended period of time. So when I started off, I would do like 10 seconds. I'd be talking about, like, I don't know, cake for 10 seconds. And I'd be looking at something, giving my full eye contact to it, and I just talk about cake. As I did that 10 seconds, I'd be like, right, let me challenge myself. Let me do 30 seconds. Do 30 seconds talking about cake. Then I'd get through that and I'd be like, wow, I didn't stutter. I didn't move my eyes, I didn't anything. So actually, let me do this for a longer period. I then do it for like a minute. And when you start realizing that you can talk about absolutely nothing for a long period of time, you'll start realizing that actually you can talk about things that you do know more about for an even longer period of time. But you need to challenge your thinking and start thinking more confidently about the way that you can prepare and deliver presentations or live reports. So for a live report, you are live on the scene for something's happened, you are there, and it's a live news report. So imagine if you're watching a news program, like I think behind me is like BBC London. You're watching a news program, they cut to you as a correspondent, the presenter in the studio says, okay, so I don't know, a cake has been stolen, and our correspondent Ben Hunte is there at the scene and is going to tell us all about it. The camera would cut to you, you're there on the scene, I don't know, in a kitchen, and this is the live report. It's over to you, the camera's on you, the lights are on you, you need to deliver the news. So for my live report, let's say a cake has been stolen. I'm looking at, who are you? Which station are you reporting for? Where are you? Where in the world are you? Tell the audience where you are, because there's not going to be a locator. What's happened? What's happened in this scenario? And when did it happen? When did this awful thing happen? So this is a really good way of preparing yourself for presentations or whatever else. It's just a quick, fun task for you to just start thinking about how you deliver and actually come across. For me, I would usually record something like this. So we're all carrying around phones and video cameras all throughout our days. So you might as well use them. Set up your phone somewhere, give eye contact to the phone camera, exactly like I'm giving you now, and try to deliver a news report. It sounds stupid, it sounds really simplistic, but honestly, it will get you in the zone for delivering a presentation. And then when you watch it back after, you might start thinking, oh my goodness, like, why does my eye flicker like this when I'm talking? Or, oh, I actually realize I sway when I talk. Whatever it is, you need to start realizing what it is like when you're talking to people. So let's talk through that again. A cake has been stolen, the camera's cut to me, and I'm live. So who are you and who are you reporting for? Where are you? What's happened? And when did it happen? For me, I might be like, yes, hello, I'm Ben Hunte. I'm reporting for BBC News. I'm currently in the kitchen. There are reports that a cake has been stolen from the fridge. Sources on the ground have told me that it may have happened last night. So something like that is very quick, it's very simple, but it gets you thinking about how you look. I might watch that back and then be like, okay, so I didn't actually like how quickly I was speaking, because a lot of us speak really quickly, so we need to pace ourselves. It may be that I realize, oh, actually, I didn't look confident, I was slouching. Whatever it is, you need to start realizing how you come across. So record yourself. A lot of people don't like watching themselves back. That's fine. Get over it, push through it, and make it happen. That's one task. Second task. If you really want to test your skills, I would advise chatting to someone as if they're a live guest. Like I said, when I was younger, I really struggled with confidence. I really struggled to make friends in school. And I just didn't like speaking to people, to be honest. I was a real introvert. What I would do with this task is, this is about being on the spot in front of somebody. I really struggled to speak to people because I felt like they were always trying to catch me out about something, as if by me like slipping up and talking about myself, they were going to suddenly see who I really was, that I was like this gay individual, which for me in my head was such an awful thing. So I really struggled with that. So why not try interviewing a live guest in this scenario and then get live feedback about your performance? If you're interviewing a live guest, the main aim is always getting information from them. Why has this thing happened and what do they know? So when I go into an interview scenario, regardless about whether it was recent stuff I've done about young people living with homophobic parents and isolating with them during the coronavirus pandemic, I've interviewed a young trans person who was scared about her unsupportive parents burying her as the wrong gender. Today, I've got a piece out about 7 LGBT political groups who are angry about what the government is doing about trans lives. Whatever it is, I usually go in, I try to get 3 pieces of information. What 3 things can they tell me? So say the cake scenario. It would be, if I've got a live guest with me, what do you know about the stolen cake? Where were you when the cake was stolen? were you involved in stealing the cake? And what impact has the cake being stolen had on you? So, in this fantasy scenario where a cake has been stolen, that's the information I want to get from them. What do you know about the cake being stolen? Where were you when the cake was stolen? Were you involved? And what impact has the cake being stolen had on you? In this scenario, I would usually put the two things together. I would do the top bit where I'm kind of live from the studio. So the studio passes to me and I say, hello, I'm Ben. Yes, I'm here on the ground. A cake has been stolen. I'm here with my live guest. Turn to them. Hello. Yes. So you are blah, 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 blah. You were live at the scene. Tell me about the cake. You're bringing someone into that scenario immediately and they're giving you information live. This is a stressful task. I genuinely challenge every single one of you to try to do this later today or at some point with someone in your house or someone that you know. Yes, you could probably do it virtually as well, but it really makes you think in the moment and you can get live feedback from them about your delivery. So they could be like, oh, actually, when you were speaking to me, you made me feel really nervous because you were coming across like really angry about trying to find out like where the cake was and blah, 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 blah. Or it might be, oh yeah, I feel like you could be a bit more confident in your delivery because this is you, you're owning this moment. This is all about you. Getting feedback from people is so important. In every aspect of our lives, whether it is job interviews, whether it's delivering presentations, everything has a result, whether it's me live on the news talking about a story, everything has some kind of result that we want out of it. By getting that feedback immediately, you can improve things and you can immediately learn and develop yourself with that. So hopefully me just talking at you for however long that was useful in some ways. But let me reiterate, confidence really is key. For me, when I was a young LGBT person, I really struggled with confidence, and it is so important for you to find that confidence within yourselves. Do not allow your lack of confidence to hold you back from the future that you deserve. Put yourself out there, start getting those experiences that you deserve, and make it happen.
Thank you for such an empowering talk there, Ben. That really engaged a lot of us. And I think for perspective for a lot of us, I've really seen these last 3 months of lockdown as quite a blessing, actually, to have so much self-development and self-awareness. You know, after the end of each day, I kind of assess what I did during that way that was something that I felt was making me the person I want to be, whether that was learning something, writing something, or doing something, you know.
Okay, Rory, that's deep. Wow.
Man, well, you've got us. Maybe in 5 years' time if I become a role model. But yeah, no, I think you've definitely triggered a lot of feelings and thoughts within ourselves. So with that said, I'll take it into the Q&A, and our first question is from Ollie.
Hey, Ollie.
Hi, Ben. I really liked those tips, especially the eye contact. I'm definitely going to be working on that. So my question for you is, what challenges do you face when covering LGBTQ plus stories?
What challenges? I think the biggest challenge that I face is probably that they're not popular with all of the audience. I think that if you're reporting for someone like Pink News or for Attitude or for Gay Times, it's a lot easier in some ways because you're speaking to an LGBT audience. So they're ready to receive that information. For me, when I put out a story, it's going to a primarily non-LGBT audience. So I need to think about how I explain things to people. One of the ways I do that is I explain all of my stories to my parents, because my parents aren't very woke. They don't really get it. So by explaining things to my mum, I break it down. And by the time I've broken it down to her, I'm like, oh, so that's how I should explain it to people. So that's one challenge. I suppose the other challenge that I face is that everything is personal. I think a lot of correspondents and reporters don't have patches that things are so personal to them. But when I'm sat opposite a gay man and he's telling me about, I don't know, his experiences of like abuse or awful things that have happened to him, I can't help but think, oh my goodness, like that could have been me, or maybe that relates to the experiences that I have had. Everything is in some way personal. So yeah, there have been moments where it's really hit me. And when I was reporting, I don't know, for Channel 5 News about whatever, something random about snow, about a snow day that hit the UK. I didn't go home crying after it, but there are some stories that have really hit me really deeply in this role. So that's another challenge as well. But I'm very lucky to be able to tell these stories and these experiences on a platform like the BBC. So I think it's incredible that this role exists.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. I think really what resonated from that was the idea of journalism being a voice to the unheard and helping us relate to people we wouldn't normally relate to. So we now have a question from Monica.
Hey, Monica.
Hiya. So I kind of have a question connected to the first one. So how do you actually decide what to report on and what to kind of leave out when you actually do the report?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question because a lot of people don't realize that BBC News isn't like a blog. Like there's not one button that says upload and you just press it and it just goes out everywhere. So what people don't realize is the amount of process involved. So for instance, this story that I've got out today about these 7 LGBT political groups who have said that what Liz Truss is doing and the Conservatives are doing isn't good enough. That piece was pitched to me by them and they said, Ben, would you like to do this as an exclusive? And I said, yes, please, I would like to. I then take that to my editor. My editor says, yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea. Maybe you want to do it like this or like this. My editor then goes to the outlet that we want. So it would go to like BBC News Online. And they would say, yeah, we're interested in this story, but only if you do it like this, this or this. At that point, they're like, right, you need to go away, write it, and then deliver it to us. I'd write it, deliver it, and then it would go through a subbing process. So a sub editor would go through and be like, don't like this bit, don't like that bit, don't like that bit, and they'd remove it. So by the time that something actually goes from the idea of it to actually going out, it's gone through a number of people. There's not just one button. And that means that a lot of things that potentially are good stories and things that are worth covering may not be covered. And I think that is really important for people to realize that it isn't, if I do one story every 2 weeks, it's not that I only had one idea over the course of those 2 weeks. It could be that things are getting worked on in the background. It could be that there's something that's happened with production. It could be that outlets just don't want it. If you look at this time that we're in at the moment with the coronavirus pandemic, the news is dominated by coronavirus and has been for the past few months. So that's meant that a lot of my investigations, documentaries, had a podcast, a lot of things have fallen away, been cancelled or been moved because of that. So it's usually a lot deeper than just me wanting to do a story and being able to do it, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, thanks for that. That's, I think, very insightful and especially important for a lot of people who don't really see what happens beyond the scenes and might complain about things not being spoken about. I hadn't thought about that.
Yes.
But with that said, our next question from Siraj is probably on a lot of our minds right now.
Hi, Ben. Thank you so much for your tips and for your energy. Loving that. My question is, how can LGBTQ plus people get involved with the BBC?
Yes. So, like I said, I'm a good contact to have. And I am here. I'm ready to report on stories. I'm ready to introduce you to people. In any way that I can help, I want to help. The best way is usually through social media, but also through email. So my email address is ben.hunt with an E on the end at bbc.co.uk. On Instagram and on Twitter, I'm at beninldn. Hit me up, message me, speak to me. I'm here. The other way, of course, is to pay your TV license. So actually watch BBC content and engage with BBC content. I see you. But then I think, I'm not saying anything. But I think it is important to engage with BBC content. The BBC is a public broadcast service. The BBC is literally here to deliver content that you want to see. So if you're LGBT and you're a young person and you think, I don't know, BBC Three isn't doing the things that you want to see, speak to the BBC Three editor. If you see something that appears on, I don't know, like Newsnight, for instance, that makes you upset, reach out to the editor, speak to the BBC complaints department. You need to start making that network and ultimately shaping the BBC into what you want it to be. So if I can help in any way, obviously I'm here for it. Work experience is obviously a big thing as well. Like I said, work experience is so key. You need to start thinking about what you want to do and getting those different work experience placements and stuff like that. If I can help at all with that, the BBC has the BBC Academy, which is incredible, a website that you can go to and learn loads about journalism, but they also offer different traineeships and just general work experience placements all over the country at your local BBC radio station, local TV station. Use it. It's there for you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks for that question, Siraj. Now we're on to a question from Ramses.
Hello.
Hi. So how can you maintain or improve your confidence if you haven't come out yet?
That is such a good question. And to be honest, all of my confidence tips were aimed towards that. So if you've had that experience or someone you know has had that experience, every single one of them is to do with that. Eye contact. When I hadn't come out, I really, really struggled with giving people eye contact. Strong and clear voice. I felt like I had no voice before I'd come out. Looking interested, I would shy away. I would hide from putting myself forward for things because I thought I was going to be found out. Just keeping going. If I was like in a drama class or something, I would stutter. I would stop what I'm doing. And challenging your thinking. It's like you need to start putting yourself in control of the situation. Coming out is not for everybody. I think that's such an important thing to realize. It is not for everybody. I've got so many friends who came out and it wasn't the right thing. It wasn't the right time for them. It wasn't the right opportunity for them. They thought their parents were going to react badly and they did. It isn't always the right thing for everybody. And I think it's so important to make sure that you're doing the right thing for you. So developing confidence for me is all about putting yourself in those experiences that are going to challenge your thinking. So volunteering for things in your local community, volunteering at school, volunteering at university. When I got to Malaysia as a black gay man within a country where they had Sharia law, literally basically death penalty for being gay, I don't think I'd Googled it enough to actually work out that was a thing. But when I got there, I was like, I'm going to make the most of this situation. My best friend ended up being a Muslim girl from Qatar, where they have even stricter laws around being gay. And it just challenged my thinking. I was like, wow, if she can change her perspective and I can change my perspective, then mind blown. Like the opportunities are endless. So I worked on my confidence by putting myself forward for things at university. I eventually became the student president of the Students' Union. And that was about putting myself forward and just seeing if I could do it. That's what you need to do if you're in the closet, you're scared about being exposed or whatever else. Just put yourself forward for things and challenge your thinking, because ultimately no one cares. It's a personal experience. No one cares about it. Just in your head.
Really good advice, Ben. And I would say definitely, the priority is to stay safe. But yeah, like what you said, really listening to others' experiences can inspire your own, but not to expect the same outcome as what they had. So, very good points there. So I think we have time for one final question now from Marco.
Hey, Marco.
Hi, Ben. Hello.
Hey.
I would like to know, how difficult was it for you growing up as a black gay guy in Britain? And when did you become more confident about your sexuality? More personal question.
No, it's a good question. It's a good question. It was a struggle. It was a real struggle. I've actually got a story coming out about it in a couple of weeks, or maybe even next week, about my experiences and my friends' experiences growing up, because it was a bit of a nightmare. Not gonna lie. I had an absolutely horrific time in school, and I had a really awful time trying to learn about myself. I didn't come out. I was outed. And as a result of that, I kind of school hopped. So I went from being in one place, being outed, and I was just like, I can't stay here. So went to somewhere else. So I had a really, really hard time. So that was difficult. The other thing is that I didn't realize that I could be black and gay, which sounds crazy. But when you think about it, well, this is what, like 10, 15 years ago. When I was growing up, I genuinely didn't have any non-white LGBT role models. The only person that I could see that was out there that was black and gay was a guy called Derek from Big Brother. And it was wild because he was a really ultra conservative, well-spoken, fox hunting guy. And I was like, wow, it's just me and Derek. Like, it is just us. But obviously it was more than that. But because people were reacting in such a crazy way to Derek even existing, and I'd be in like the football changing rooms and stuff, and it'd be like, oh my God, like, I can't believe, like, a black gay guy, who would have thought? And I'd be there like, ha ha ha, deep down knowing I was actually gay myself. So there was a real struggle to come to terms with the fact that I could actually exist, which is why I deliver classes where I go around the country to kind of speak to young people, because if there's even one person that was like me back in the day that needs to see me to just know that you can be a thing, then that's so important to me. In terms of how I developed my confidence, it was about challenging myself. It was about realizing that, yes, I've been dealt these cards. This is what I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. So I can either make a good thing about it or it's going to be a bad thing. And I wanted to make it as good as possible. And I suppose that's why I wanted to do this class today, to actually just challenge your thinking about what you can do. We don't need to put ourselves into specific boxes. You can literally do anything, but it's about people that want to help you and will be able to help you. And you need to build that network to do that. But you have to have the confidence to put yourself forward in the first place.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Well, that closes.
Oh, wait. I was missing the Rory's final thought on that. What's going on?
Did I realized? Well, actually, it's coming after my thanks to you. Of course, I just had to process it a bit. I'd like to first thank you and then present Rory's final thoughts, which is to summarize this. Well, this has been a very highly energetic and engaging talk that hopefully has a call to action for all of us for what we can do next. But I think as well what Ben's highlighted about not putting yourself into a box is exemplified by School Diversity Week. So if you look through all these videos, we have so many other unique LGBT plus experiences. We have, Lady Phil talking about being Black and lesbian. We also had Dr. Ranj talking about a South Asian experience, and also we've had transgender, bisexual, all kinds of experiences. So thanks to everyone who's joined us for these masterclasses throughout this week. Be sure to check them all out. And thank you everyone who's come for this amazing session.